Welcome, everyone. I am Lisa Vivori. I am a Diamond Ambassador with New You Life, and I want to welcome everyone tonight to On the Gel Success Series with our various types of nurses. We have an LPN and an RN. And Pam, are you an RN or a?
Well, in Oregon, we have to maintain our RN plus our nurse practitioner license.
Okay, I'm going to let you guys explain what all that means when we get rolling here, but I want to welcome you guys. So we want, it's really interesting as we work with Somaderm Gel to look at perspectives from different people across different demographics, different industries, and people are really interested in kind of hearing from people who work in the medical arena in different capacities. And I'm really glad to have all three of you on tonight. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here. I just want to walk around and just get a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and again, who you are as a person, a little bit about, your professional background, and then then we're going to go back around and talk a little bit how you got introduced to the gel and a little bit about your story, and then we'll ask you some questions, okay? Leilani, you want to kick us off?
I am Leilani Braun. I am an LPN, which is a licensed practical nurse, and I'm out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been a nurse for 40 plus years. I've worked in all areas of the medical field, and the last 15 years was devoted with special needs children.
Oh, that's really cool. Thank you. Thank you for that. And then we'll get your story a little bit in a moment. Diane, and you are an RN. Tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Diane White. I'm from Cabot, Arkansas. I've been in the industry for 27 years of nursing and done, a few MLM companies as well. And I wasn't going to do anymore. And I came across this because it was so authentic. I'll get to that in a minute. But from labor and delivery, hearts transplant unit, I've worked labor and delivery probably most of my nursing years, and surgery and OBGYN surgeries. Just a lot going on in the medical field. Back in the years that I did it, you worked everywhere. You weren't really designated for just one department. You were designated and trained in every department back then. So as the years progressed, everything's become more of a specialist, if you will. So and then I went into K through 12, substituting for the schools, and enjoyed that for a little while. And I actually had took a year off and went into homeopathic through a GNC management. I was management. And I learned a lot about the homeopathic living. And that's where I got my first taste of even the HGH that was going through the stomach. And even at that time, as it was being sold on the shelves, I had questioned about that. There's just so many different ways we're seeing HGH administered, and I really wanted to be a part of a movement that was sharing it in the right way.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And Pam, I know you're not retired because we moved in time so you could finish up work today.
That's right. That's right.
So tell us a little bit about you.
I've been an RN for 35 years. I worked acute care for 8 years in the OBGYN and surgical unit, and I've been a nurse practitioner for 28 years. And so RNs can go back to school if they so desire. And in Oregon, nurse practitioners can practice independently. The legislature decided a long time ago that if they required a higher level of education, that we could practice independently. And so now it's a doctorate in nursing in order to practice as a nurse practitioner. And so I went back to school after being injured in labor and delivery. And so my practice has always been in private practice. And I originally started out in an OBGYN office, because my specialty is women's health, because the joke on the OBGYN floor used to be, and this may sound crude, but it was true, one hand in the vagina and the other on the doorknob saying, "Do you have any questions?" And I always felt that women deserved better than that, because we are always the caretakers. So I landed in an integrated office with naturopaths, Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and allopathic medicine. And I also learned the huge value of integrating the different disciplines of medicine. My practice now is I see women, and I have worked into a practice of most of my patients have adrenal fatigue, thyroid dysfunction, and I do a lot of bioidentical hormones. About 3 months ago, I get this phone call from John Stupka, who says, "I have this product that you've got to try." 6 years ago, I had a mesh mess. They punctured my abdominal aorta, putting in mesh, and that caused a plethora of a mess, and I ended up with 17 surgeries, and I am a walking billboard for the gel.
You have a great story. Terrific. Thank you so much. Leilani, let's get back to you. As I think you have, were you able to start on the gel? You also had an injury. You have a disability now. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about what, in terms of how that impacted you for work and how you came across the gel and what your story has been with that?
Actually, I'd done my career in nursing in all areas, and then 2.5 years ago, I developed what was postmenopausal breakthrough bleeding. And with that, then with the exam, I found out that I had cancer. And I have had 2 major surgeries and 8 weeks of radiation, 3rd-degree burns internally and externally. So it was extremely painful. I still have my days where it's bad, but I was introduced to the gel July 9th, only to find out that my oncologist disapproved of it and would not let me take it. But yet I knew exactly what the gel was, and I believed in it 150%. So I went on and built my team, even though I wasn't on the gel. And then in December, I had a PET scan to confirm that there was still no spots. And this month, I'm 2 years cancer-free. I had no chemotherapy, and I did it all with alternative medicine,
Wow.
with the exception of the radiation. But the gel I've been on it 7 weeks today, and I have seen a tremendous change and difference already in 7 weeks, and I just can't wait for the rest of the results to happen for the main reasons why I was choosing to get on the gel.
Yeah. Can you tell us quickly what tremendous difference you've seen? And first of all, congratulations on A, being cancer-free, and B, doing it holistically and doing it alternatively. That's fantastic. And I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear the whole journey, but we're going to stay focused tonight. So can you just kind of tell us a little bit about what changed in the last 7 weeks for you?
The first thing I noticed, and had been my complaint over 2 years, was the fatigue, the exhaustion, and my energy just uplifted because I was taking 4 ginsengs a day. I've had 1 ginseng in the first week, and in 6 weeks I've had no ginseng. My energy is through the roof. I've noticed I'm getting little hairs coming out along my hairline, rest. I'm sleeping. I wake up. I don't brain fog that I have, and I don't want to get up, but I get up.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So thank you for that. What about you, Diane? I think it's interesting. So far, we have 2 out of our 3 nurse panelists giving their own, you both have had some really tough health situations. And we are going to come back to you on yours, Pam, but, and kind of what you've what changed for you with the gel. But let me hit Diane and tell a little bit about how you got into the gel. Were you retired from nursing?
Yes, I was. I was doing some volunteer nursing at a homeless shelter for a few months to help them out. They just needed some help so badly. But I came across this, and I love the way that the science behind our gel. I love what's going on with it. As a nurse, I can appreciate its dilution. Water has memory, so it's going into the skin, transdermal. I really could appreciate that. We have to be really savvy about counterfeits out there, people that are trying to duplicate it. We have the one and only gel that transdermal, homeopathic, no, all natural. It's just a micro dosing combination that we use. Everyone is different. You find out your dose in your first couple of months. And sometimes by the second or third month, you've got your dose that works for you. Because thyroid patients, just like myself, with dealing with hypothyroidism, we had a doctor last night that was sharing his experience on a live call for the company, and just really could appreciate how it had affected him the same way it's affecting me. Hypothyroidism is really something we really need to be aware of. It's going rampant out here. They have to microdose even smaller than we do. Let me explain. They have to start off on smaller doses. I do the whole full pump now, but it took me 2 to 4 weeks to get from that small blueberry up to the full pump, because
Wow.
it was really adjusting my adrenals so fast.
What did you
And
see? What happened? How did
I
you
had
know?
some pressure behind my eye. It actually caused I had a lot of pressure behind one eye. So I had to really reduce back. I had to reduce some of it back and go back in slower. So once I increased the water completely and started working up to 2 berries, and then by 2 months I could go full pump. So it all depends on the person. Don't assume because it didn't work for you.
Yes, it does. And
Someone
that's really
else.
great. What you're saying, Diane, is really great information, because
Hypothyroidism is tough. You got to be careful with that.
people do adjust, right? But also you're
Yes.
saying but here's the thing that's interesting. You felt pressure behind your eye and you
Yes.
kept going. I know a lot of people, when something starts to go off, they get scared and they quit. Why did you feel safe to continue when that happened?
Because I knew I had some borderline medical issues that I came with. I just knew that it was a matter of my body needed that adjustment, because the HGH gel is going to find what's wrong with my body and try to correct it. We all come with our junk. We all come what's going on with us. Some things are hidden, some things are visible. So I knew there was going to be probably some moments that I was going to get some kind of side effects for myself. And I made a decision. I know everything kind of works through itself within 90 days. There's something about a 90 days that kind of works its way through our system, good for us or bad for us. It's going to be a sign. Any time, and this is probably the biggest misconception with toxicity, is anytime there's toxicity, there's reactions. Anytime there's something coming through our body, there's going to be somewhat reactions, whether it's a mild headache, little pressure in the eyes, maybe people have some digestive issues or some other things going on. These are all normal to me. It wasn't anything huge. I wasn't bleeding. I wasn't having heart failure. I wasn't having anything major. It was things that I would say, this too shall pass. But I needed to find the dose for me. You back off. You do things for a few days. Okay, that worked. I went on 3 weeks straight. I did not get off the product. Then I went off a week. So I did the 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And that seemed to stabilize me and get me more in my induction of the product. So then I went to the 5-2. By increasing HGH, we get these great new things happening to our bodies. My A1C was getting to a point, not real risky, but enough that I was being watched borderline. So savvy as I am about blood work, and I love numbers, they tell us everything. I went and got my blood work done when I first began the first week with the gel. And my doctor was not happy with cholesterol, A1C, blood pressure, and a few things that were going on inside of me. And I said, can you hold off? Give me 3 months and let the gel penetrate and do what it's supposed to do in increasing, enhancing my HGH, and the botanicals giving their absorption and nutrition as well. So by December, my panel came back. I got my blood work done again. And the doctor was telling me, now, if this isn't this way or that way, according to ranges of numbers, we have our range of normal to high. And so she said, if we can't get you right here in the middle, we're going to have to do medication, which I really, do not like medications at all. I want to be as much medical sound and pharmaceutical free because of so many side effects. So when my panel came back, 30 hours later, I get a call from my nurse, and she says, are you sitting down? Of course, that funny feeling of, okay, do I stay positive or negative here? And I just stayed positive and said, give it to me straight. And she said, the doctor put exclamation marks behind all of your numbers were normal. Your A1C went down 2 points. Your cholesterol went down 30 points. You lost 8 pounds, and don't change anything you're doing. So when it all comes down to it, science doesn't lie. So I not only have proof that I'm doing some constructive hormonal changes in my body by increasing the HGH, that I'm getting phenomenal results. And so I'm just so excited about being out here to share this and to share with you tonight. Lisa, thank you for allowing me to come on. I just love sharing my story. My blood pressure is better. I'm not on cholesterol medicine at all. There's just a lot of good things. And my neuropathy has gone from my foot on the product the first month. That's me personally. Everybody works different with their products. I sleep like a baby, and I never had problems sleeping. I never really realized I was not sleeping in that 4th and 5th stage of REM. When you go to those stages of sleep, your body's healing. You feel so restored when you get up. It's da-da-da. And I didn't have that. It was like, oh, God, it's morning. And now, thank you, God, it's morning. There's a whole difference of our mentality and physicalness if you're doing it right. But there is one secret before I leave here and let Lisa have the floor back. Hydration. I must impress. You must drink half your body weight of water. Divide it in half and keep that water flushing. We're detoxing so much in this wonderful homeopathic gel that we need to be able to flush out those toxins because they can get lodged, and then we have maybe a pressure of a headache, or we don't feel good. It's because we're not drinking that all the way through, or if we're not getting enough systematic feelings through the gel, we're not drinking enough water. So by saying that, I'm just glad to be here and share the good news. We've got a great mission of product that no one has. Others are trying to counterfeit, and we just want to make sure we get the word out that we're the only one out there, transdermal gel, registered by FDA.
Well said. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I love the perspective. I mean, when you find, this is why I love bringing medical professionals on in particular from all different angles. Like you wind up with so many perspectives and a deeper appreciation for what we have. That's what I find is the more educated someone is, the deeper the appreciation. So what was the old line? Our best customer is an educated customer or something. So thank you for that. And Pam, let's go back to you. You were telling us that you'd had a major brain trauma injury, and that the gel has changed your life. And yes, we'd love to hear that story from you. And, given particularly again with your practice, and I think you also have patients and colleagues on it, the gel as well. So if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when John was telling me about it, what I initially was hoping for was some better sleep and increased energy. I had absolutely no idea that I would get the increase in cognitive ability that I got. And I was on the gel for 2 weeks, and I call them the boys. My one of them's my business partner, and the other one basically rents space in the office. they were going, wow, you're looking better. What's going on? You're looking better. And by a month, the DO in the office was marching into my office saying, okay, what is this that you're on? Because whatever it is, I want to put my patients on it because you are back to who you were 6 years ago. And and you can even ask John, I am back to who I was before the 17 surgeries and the concussion. And I was not expecting the cognitive restoration. And then, Stephanie addressed that, the neurogenesis. I mean, the more I started looking into human growth hormone, but I was not expecting it. That was a total surprise. And my whole clientele are adrenal dysfunction, adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue patients. I realize we aren't supposed to give diagnoses when we talk about it.
You're a medical practitioner, so that changes things, actually.
Oh, okay, awesome.
You have a little bit. All of our medical practitioners you still, we want to be careful about making major medical claims, but you guys have a little bit more leeway than the rest of us.
Because those are my clientele, are adrenal fatigue and depression and, weight gain and hypothyroid. And I had accidentally checked my thyroid labs before I started it. And, I was on 75 micrograms of Synthroid forever, and my numbers were always really low. And my primary care, who's my business partner, checked my labs a month after I had been on the gel. And surprisingly, shockingly, my labs were up in the mid-normal range, and I had done absolutely nothing different other than get on the gel. And so like I said, I'm a walking billboard. And, with the Board of Nursing in Oregon, I walk a fine line in talking to patients about being distributors. And I haven't quite figured out how to do that and not get the board down my neck. But as far as, here, you need this, I tell almost every single patient, and John sent me an ingredient list. And so I have that all printed out, and I have where you can get it. I have the website, stapled onto the back of it. Almost every single patient gets that. That's how I use it in the practice.
What kind of results are you seeing with your patients?
Awesome. I mean, not many of my patients have had concussions, but they look at me and they go, "You're back. The real you is back." And it's like, "Would you like to know why? Here, this is why." And I pull out the handout. I mean, I have a wall of handouts, and I have 50 of the gel, the Somaderm handouts on my wall, and I go through them every 2 days because that's why.
I want to jump in and just tell our audience, I want to remind our audience that Pam referenced a video with Stephanie Rimka and some other, Dr. Stephanie Rimka and some other healthcare practitioners, specifically discussing mindset, the brain, and the gel. And so this whole idea of how the physiology between how we appear, how we show up in the world, and the actual physiology of the brain and the gel is an entire episode in this channel. So if you're interested in that, in the On the Gel Success series, you can find that video that Pam's talking about. It's fascinating.
And neurogenesis, and the fact that patients with adrenal fatigue or hyperadrenal dysfunction. I mean, when you're really stressed, your cortisol level is up. And when your cortisol level is up, then you're not getting the neurogenesis that you need. And, you're not making good brain cells, or you're not making brain cells at all. And so she did a really good job with that. And so it was, with my concussion, it's like, duh, I wasn't thinking of that. And so it was a really good reminder. And so all of that talk was really good. But it was like, okay, well, duh, if you hadn't had a concussion, you would have remembered that. But
Well, welcome back.
I know it feels
And
so good.
So I want to just, first of all, again, I want to thank you all so much for being here tonight. I know people love to hear from you. Is there anything you guys want to add quickly before we wrap up? And I want to invite everyone to stay for a short Q&A after, but this is you know, the end of the formal panel. Is there anything you guys want to add?
This stuff is great. And it is a precursor to glutathione, and I give IV glutathione in the office, and I'm not giving near as much of that because HGH is a precursor to glutathione, and it's the best antioxidant liver detox that there is. But if you don't drink enough water, you're going to itch and you're going to get a headache, and patients must drink enough water.
Absolutely. For that, you know, to help the detox and help the flush. I mean, that's true
Right.
Anyway, but particularly on the gel. I see that Jude has asked, does Somaderm increase testosterone levels? And does anybody want to take that one? Pam?
It can, because it will, with the adrenal support and the human growth hormone support, the adrenals produce pregnenolone, and pregnenolone is kind of the mother hormone, and from pregnenolone is will metabolize out to DHEA, and then DHEA can metabolize out to testosterone. And so all of those different hormones can be elevated and increased simply from this product. And so I've been prescribing bioidentical hormones for the last 28 years. And so for all of the women that I'm prescribing all of the bioidenticals for, I'm going to wait until they've been on the Somaderm for about 2 months, and then I'm going to make them all come back in and start evaluating all of their levels, because in the compounding that I do, I put pregnenolone and DHEA and testosterone in, all of that. So I'm going to be measuring all of those hormones, so I'll have good data to,
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how high all of these other levels get being on the Somaderm. It'll be really interesting to see.
Are any of your partners doing that as well?
I'm the kind of the queen in the office of.
You're the hormone queen?
I am. For a long time. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good. Well, listen, I think we've got it.
Do you want me to add my last comments?
Yeah, go ahead,
Lisa?
please.
I'm just going to say, just remember, folks, if you're watching this for the first time or this is a replay for you, our second bottle of the gel sells because the first bottle works. And don't forget that that's very rare in a first 30-day product, that you're getting some results right away. Those endorphins, that dopamine is getting affected. And that's why they're talking about brain functions and the chemistry, the neurons in the brain. I mean, everything's wakening up from when it has lost its HGH level from years ago. So give yourself time to microdose the gel if you're interested. Get a hold of whoever knows on this panel, and just try it, and just remember that there's a great science behind it if you take it correctly, and we have the right way.
That's right. Thank you. That's really true. But also do know that everyone's going to have a different result.
Yes.
And the point that Diane's making about the dosing is everybody's different. We have a basic recommended dose, but like so many products out there. You have to find what's right for you. Some people are more sensitive, some people less. And I want to give Leilani a chance to add a final note before we wrap up. And then we will have a Q&A, so stay tuned for that, but just for this panel.
You know, both of my counterparts have said it's the hydration of water. Alkaline water is so much easier than just regular tap water because of all the chemicals they treat our water with and the alkalinity of the water. So just stay hydrated because that will keep you from having the leg cramps and the headaches and all that.
Okay, thank you all so much again. You all freaking rock. Love you guys. And I
Love you too, Lisa. Thank you for asking us.
And I love working with all of you every day. So on that note, good night, everyone, and we will see you next time.
Good night. Thanks.
Thank you.
And for me, I'm in love with you.